Who takes that last shot?
I don't know, but they'll dribble, penetrate, and try to get it to somebody. Rochesty will create, and there it is.
Look out below.
Well, they're going to call it off because of the charge on Rochesty right here. And Tony Bennett is extremely unhappy about that one.
Second personal on Rochesty. 6 seconds to go, and Gonzaga will have the final shot. A couple bad breaks for Washington State there at the end of the half.
Yeah, you know, right there, Rochesty penetrated twice. On the first one, they called a foul before, so they only got to inbound the ball. No points, no free throws. And right there, they call an offensive foul on his penetration. Right here, let's take a look. Look on the right side of your screen, see if he gets there in time. Well, the official thinks so, and he's wearing the striped shirt. I don't see any stripes in yours, so we don't get a vote on this. And that can turn the tide right here because Gonzaga will have the ball to start the second half as well. So they can score here, get the ball to start the second half, and make it a 4-point swing. Well, the official's going right now to the monitor. I suspect that what they're trying to do is find out what the time was on the clock when the foul was called.
They're trying to figure out who the foul was on. Here's another look.
Well, the foul's on Rochesty. If they call the charge, he's the guy that had the basketball. That's not too hard, is it? Good work, guys, in the truck. That shows it clearly. And maybe they're looking for who should be shooting. So right here, clearly, Gerganius. Rochesty very unhappy about the course of events in the last 2 possessions.
There's Mark Few getting an explanation. 6-time West Coast Conference Coach of the Year. And we talked about Tony Bennett with the long-term deal. Mark Few, also a 10-year deal. Nobody gets a 10-year deal.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, these guys have done great jobs at these 2 places. Gonzaga has become a household word. Certainly Washington State is not, but they have great respect in the basketball world. There will be no free throws taken.
Micah Downs has checked in. 3 seconds. Pargo's going to take it himself. At the buzzer, no. And it's a comfortable lead for the Cougars in that first half, 28-19. They have to feel good about that first 20 minutes.
Oh, absolutely. The defense did it as usual for Washington State and Tony Bennett. They come in and they're playing against a ranked team in a very difficult place, and they have this kind of lead at halftime. That is good news for the Cougars.
Let's go to Andy.
Leon, what has to change offensively? Obviously, Washington State doing a great job defensively. How can you guys make it easier to score?
Well, we're not moving the ball very well quickly enough. We're standing, holding it a little bit too much and allowing their defense to get set. And then all our penetrations are in the bodies. We got to move the ball quicker. Then we're penetrating into their weak side.
How can you make it your tempo?
Well, we got to keep getting stops. Our defense is okay, but we got to get some stops so we can run and then get that ball moving quicker.
All right, thanks. That's Gonzaga assistant coach Leon Rice. Let's go back to you guys.
All right, first half is in the books. Matchup of top 25 teams, 28-19, Washington State at the break. The Bulldogs have only lost once in this building in 4 years. They're in jeopardy of falling here tonight to the number 6 team in the country, 28-19 here at the half. Let's take a look at the first half stats. And we talked about the pace. Gonzaga, they like to push the floor. Nothing going as far as the tempo for the Bulldogs, and it's reflected in the stats. They were cold from the field.
Well, we don't show percentages right here, but the percentages, in case you don't know how to do math, 54% for Washington State to 26% for Gonzaga, and 26% is never going to get it done. Uncharacteristic turnovers on the part of the Cougars, 10. That's what they average per game, so that is uncharacteristic of their play, but their defense and Robbie Cowgill is giving them the breathing room they need.
He leads the floor with 8 points. Well, Kyle Weaver had 5 in the first half. I'm sure the Cougars would like to see more from him. But certainly, when you look at our Star Watch, Matt Bolden was absolutely non-existent.
Yeah, and that's really a problem. And the reason he was non-existent is the guy you see in your picture right there. Kyle Weaver's defense is magnificent. He's known as the best defensive player in the Pac-10. He can guard almost every position on the floor. His stats do not really tell the story of how great a player he really is. And Bolden is going to have to do something in the second half, or Gonzaga is in trouble.
Oliver Pierce has been the sports information director at Gonzaga University for the last 19 years. He has had more credential requests for this game than in the entire 19 years he's been here. It just tells you the excitement that was building up for this game. But so far, the Bulldogs have been a little bit of a letdown. And, Coach, let's talk about the adjustments that both Tony Bennett and Mark Few are trying to make here in the second half.
Well, for Tony, he's got to just maintain the poise, and they are a poised team. 3 seniors and 2 juniors in the starting lineup, and a very calm coach. And on the other hand, Mark Few has to establish Bolden. He's going to find scoring from someplace. He's either going to have to do that or send 5 guys to the offensive boards to get something on the inside.
Let's go to Andy Katz.
I just talked to Tony Bennett, and the key stat for him is that Gonzaga missed 22 shots and only had 5 offensive rebounds. Washington State had 18 defensive rebounds. He said if they can continue to limit Gonzaga to 1 shot, limit their own turnovers, he thinks they got a great shot to hold up here.
Well, when you go to an away court, and you can see that Tony Bennett was a very good offensive player, despite the fact that his teams played great defense. When you go to a foreign court like this, especially in this kind of an atmosphere, the poise that you display is very, very important. Derek Lowe has been in a lot of tough places, as has Weaver. And they have gotten this team off on the right foot. First team all Pac-10 performers. They are not the guys you see in highlights, but they know how to play. Fundamental, sound players.
Gonzaga 58-0 on home floor when ranked. That's what they wanted to see. Pendergraft getting them off to a good start in the second half.
The backdoor play very much a part of their stuff when they come out of timeouts. Did the same thing against St. Joe, did the same thing against UConn. And Pendergraft usually the recipient.
And just like that, it's a 7-2 Gonzaga run. Here backing in is Baines, and he was good in the first half. And he's got his first 2 of the second.
You know, Baines does his work before he catches the ball. You know, I mean, you want to be as close to the basket at 270 as you can right when you catch it, so it's just an easy lay-in.
Last touch by Washington State. Baines now with 6 points, but we've been so impressed with his physical play. Like you alluded to, that's how he makes it happen.
And I think Mark Few's concerned about that, too, because he starts Zachary in the second half, which is his most physical inside player.
Here's Bolden. Boy, does he need to start to do something. Pargo now. Pendergraft. There's the 3. David Pendergraft. 5 points here in the second half and 9 overall.
Mr. Co-Captain. He of the stoic demeanor.
He verbally committed to Gonzaga when he was a sophomore in high school. That's how much he wanted to be a part of it.